Headlines flash. Chinese Coast Guard fires water cannon at a Philippine ship. U.S. destroyers sail through contested waters. Manila and Washington announce joint patrols. These are not isolated incidents. They're the surface ripples of a deeper, quieter struggle in the Indo-Pacific. Beneath the noise, a hidden alliance is being reforged as China rises. This is the story of the U.S. and the Philippines, two nations with a tangled past, now partners in a high-stakes game that could shape Asia's future. The world watches the South China Sea, but the real drama unfolds in the shadows. Picture a moonless night. A Philippine fishing boat drifts, shadowed by a massive Chinese ship. Far above, an American drone silently tracks every move. In Manila, Filipino and American officers monitor the same screen, sharing real-time intelligence. This is the new reality. Quiet, integrated cooperation to counter aggression, without firing a shot. It's more than a military standoff. It's a contest of wills between a superpower and a determined archipelago. China expects its size and might to guarantee dominance, building islands and deploying ships to intimidate neighbors. But the Philippines, backed by a quiet but powerful partner, is pushing back. This isn't the loud alliance of the Cold War. It's subtle, flexible, and resilient, built on shared intelligence and joint training. It operates in the gray zones, between diplomacy and open conflict. This secret dimension of the US-Philippine partnership is its true strength, and what China fears most. The shadow play in the Pacific is just beginning. History remembers grand alliances, but secret partnerships often shape destinies more profoundly. These hidden agreements create uncertainty, forcing adversaries to hesitate, unsure of the true depth of cooperation. Strategic ambiguity is a powerful deterrent. Will an attack on one trigger a response from the other? In the South China Sea, this shadow game is in full play. Secret alliances aren't just about military might. They're about intelligence, economic coordination, and joint diplomacy. In the era of hybrid warfare, quiet partnerships can outmaneuver rigid treaties. The US-Philippine relationship is a masterclass in this subtle statecraft. Its strength lies in decades of layered cooperation, often out of sight, adapting to survive political shifts and new threats. Beijing can count ships, but it can't measure the strength of trust forged in shared history. The Philippines, over 7,600 islands, sits at the crossroads of Asia's most vital sea routes. It anchors the first island chain, a strategic barrier between the Pacific and the Asian mainland. Whoever controls this chain can project power or block rivals from the open ocean. The Philippines is an unsinkable aircraft carrier, close to Taiwan and facing the contested South China Sea. 1/3 of global maritime trade passes nearby. Any disruption would shake the world economy. Its location makes the Philippines both a prize and a target for great powers. Spain, the US, Japan, and now China have all sought influence here. Beijing knows a neutral or allied Philippines blocks its ambitions to dominate the South China Sea. The archipelago is the chessboard for Asia's future. China's claim to nearly the entire South China Sea is sweeping, marked by the infamous 9-dash line. It's about resources, security, and national pride. To enforce its claim, China builds artificial islands, equips them with military assets, and surrounds contested areas with layers of ships. This cabbage strategy chokes off rivals, slowly changing the facts on the water. Neighbors like the Philippines face harassment and intimidation. China's goal: make resistance seem futile, fracture regional unity, and establish itself as Southeast Asia's hegemon. But the first island chain, with the Philippines at its core, still blocks China's navy from the Pacific. The Philippines stands directly in the path of Beijing's ambitions. The US-Philippine relationship began as a colonial encounter, marked by conflict and paradox. American rule brought both exploitation and development, public education, democracy, and English. World War II changed everything. Americans and Filipinos fought side by side, forging a bond in blood. After independence, the 1951 Mutual Defense Treaty formalized their partnership. US bases like Clark and Subic Bay symbolized the security guarantee for decades. Generations of Filipinos grew up with American culture, and millions emigrated to the US, creating deep personal ties. This complex tapestry of history, sacrifice, and shared values makes the alliance uniquely resilient. It's a partnership unlike any other in Asia. In 1992, the Philippine Senate ended US-based leases, and American troops left Subic Bay. Many thought the alliance was over. China saw an opening. But instead of ending, the partnership evolved, moving from visible bases to quiet, flexible cooperation. The US adopted a rotational model, small teams advising Filipino troops, sharing intelligence, and building trust. Joint patrols and intelligence centers tackled piracy, terrorism, and cyber threats. This phantom fortress approach was low profile but highly effective. For China, it was a frustrating development, harder to counter than a visible base. The American security guarantee became embedded in the Philippine defense fabric. The closure of bases didn't kill the alliance. It made it more subtle, resilient, and unpredictable. The partnership adapted and endured. The 2014 Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, EDCA, was a game changer. It gave US forces rotational access to Philippine bases. No new bases, but rapid response capability. New EDCA sites, especially near Taiwan and the South China Sea, send a clear signal to Beijing. Joint military exercises like Balikatan have grown in scale and complexity, building true interoperability. These drills aren't just for show, they're a warning to any aggressor. The most critical cooperation is in intelligence. The US provides real-time surveillance, satellite imagery, and maritime awareness. This lets the Philippines monitor its waters and track Chinese activities with unprecedented clarity. Shared intelligence turns two militaries into a single integrated network. The alliance is now more agile, informed, and ready than ever. It's a modern partnership for a new era of threats. China's anxiety over the US-Philippine alliance runs deep. Geography is the first reason a US-allied Philippines blocks China's access to the Pacific and complicates any move on Taiwan. Second, the alliance undermines China's narrative that the US is an outsider meddling in Asia. When the Philippines freely chooses the US, it legitimizes America's presence. Third, the alliance's flexibility, rotational forces, joint exercises, informal agreements, create strategic ambiguity. China can't predict the US response, raising the risks of aggression. The partnership is reinforced by deep military and personal ties, not just government deals. Beijing can offer loans, but it can't replicate a century of shared history and trust. This quiet, multi-layered partnership is China's strategic nightmare. The true strength of the US-Philippine alliance lies in the bonds between their peoples. Over 4 million Filipinos live in the US, forming a living bridge of culture, values, and goodwill. In times of crisis, this connection is visible. American and Filipino communities mobilize together. Shared language, culture, and history create trust and comfort that can't be manufactured. American soft power, music, sports, education, deepens the relationship. China can build islands and offer investments, but it can't create this organic connection. The alliance's power comes from its depth, not just its size. It's a quiet partnership, often underestimated, but rooted in people, not just policy. In the great power competition of the 21st century, this may be the decisive advantage. The US-Philippine alliance endures, stronger in the shadows, unbreakable at its core.